Do you know the significance of 3D printing in STEM education? How will 3D printing enhance teaching and learning in your own field of study? And how is 3D used in education? Do you know the significance of 3D printing in STEM education? Table of Contents. What's the real impact of a pupil's educational experience on their unborn career issues? Lack of indifferent access to coffers and openings. Maker movement. Thetechytube.com. Have you allowed about how 3D printing impacts STEM, wisdom, technology, engineering, and calculation education? This is what MakerBot, a leading desktop 3D publishing company, tells us and how some universities have enforced its use. What's the real impact of a pupil's educational experience on their unborn career issues? Currently, the moralistic, conventional and tardy type of tutoring in the classroom isn't enough to help scholars develop the necessary chops to prosper as unborn professionals. A report from the Mitchell Institute in the U.S. stressed that seminaries uniting with both community and assiduity mates can help spark scholars' curiosity and expose them to recently arising careers, substantially in terms of chops training for STEM occupations, or STEM, for wisdom, technology, engineering, and mathematics. How will 3D printing enhance teaching and learning in your own field of study? Presently, it's thought that there are more and more centers and conditioning that give scholars with openings to gain experience in the real world before entering university and, laterally, to the labor force. Engineers spend time and coffers designing plans for domestic systems. Aerospace masterminds can witness flight pushes by piloting aircraft simulators, and aspiring scientists have the occasion to conduct innovative natural and chemical exploration in experimental laboratories. Although educational progress in colorful metropolises around the world has been positive, there's still a need for STEM careers in colorful communities. What about the hundreds of thousands of scholars who live in communities and harbor an audacious appetite for wisdom, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but don't have the means? Too frequently, these scholars fall victim to underinvestment in the coffers necessary for ultramodern literacy, similar as tablets, new lab outfit, and internet access. Lack of indifferent access to coffers and openings. The lack of indifferent access to coffers and openings has created immense comeuppance in STEM education. This, in turn, has reduced the eventuality for unborn academic achievement and the number of trained workers. This, coupled with the decreasingly high norms that the labor request demands of implicit campaigners, advanced prospects for graduate academy aspirants, and growing demand for a professed pool able of working arising problems on the global geography, results in a conflict that aggravates the situation. To definitively break the inequality of access to STEM disciplines, STEM education programs need to offer hands-on conditioning and literacy, similar as 3D printing, to spark pupil interest in careers. Space Adventure Camp in Ohio introduces 5th through 7th graders to the endless prodigies of external space through hands-on conditioning, similar as rocket prototype design and flight simulations. In Florida, Experience Aviation has fostered scholars' aeronautics and engineering chops by restoring Cessna aircraft machines and structure record-breaking supercars and aeroplanes of all kinds. The Nevada Department of Education lately awarded $4 million to the First Nevada Action to expand robotics brigades across the state. With the addition of challenges involving Lego blocks, computer programming, and robotics accoutrements, First Nevada's thing is to equip scholars with the technology chops necessary for successful communal life after high academy. Maker movement. One of the main ways to support scholars is through 3D printing technology, which has promoted the maker movement that refers to the conformation of manufacturers at a global position. Allowing indeed high academy, and university scholars to contribute to the product of masks for protection against COVID-19. Makers for Change, or M4C, is a reinvented interpretation of makers in which they educate middle and high academy scholars how to publish in 3D, Raycut Academy inventories, toys, and prosthetics. M4C supports seminaries, community centers, and original STEM associations to develop spaces for manufacturers that have the same bandwidth, the same openings, and the same weave coffers that other communities have. With the support of the 3D printing assiduity and associations interested in educational supports similar as MakerBot, scholars can be shown how to bring their ideas to life and motivated to become passionate about STEM disciplines. The intention behind inspiring scholars to pursue a career related to STEM disciplines is to contribute to the development of lesser diversity among the unborn agents of change in our country. That is why it's a big step for Makers for Change to have a cooperation with MakerBot's 3D printing educational resource area, which will drive us to broaden our reach to scholars interested in STEM education. Jonathan Gao, project manager at Makers for Change, reflected. Still, you may want to know how it helps the automotive assiduity, if you're interested in learning further about 3D printing. Note, www.thetechytube.com and its policy do not necessarily agree with the views of this blogger.